All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our February 4th Albert Unified School District Board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. At approximately 8:30 p.m., the Board of Education will determine which of the remaining agenda items can be considered and acted upon prior to 9 p.m. and may continue all other items on which additional time is required until a future meeting. All meetings are scheduled to end no later than 9 p.m. So with that, Trustee Schwant, can you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, I will.
Thank
Is
you.
the flag up?
It will be.
I can't see it.
Give me one moment and I will get the flag up. Mario, if you would be kind enough just to give me the host duties. So just be patient. There it is. Thank you for your patience. There you are, Mr. Swan.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Schwant. So now, today we have an extra special guest. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome and congratulate our new Riverside Mayor, Patricia Locke-Dawson, and a happy birthday to you. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, good evening, President Vega, board members, and Superintendent Musarino. Thanks for inviting me to speak to you all tonight. I really want to start this meeting by expressing my gratitude to all of you for all that you do for our Albert students. As a former RUSD trustee, a former school board member, I get it. I really get it. You're here for our students and our families, and your commitment to our children is so important. I just had to start off my comments tonight with my sincerest thanks, because it's sincere. So I just want to start with a brief introduction of myself for those of you that don't know me. I'm a Riverside native. I grew up here, the youngest of 5 children in the Green Belt. And I'm a UCR graduate, the first UCR grad to be in the mayor's seat with a degree in biology. And I left Riverside for a time to go to graduate school in Seattle at the University of Washington, and I returned, come back after I got my master's with my husband. And my husband and I chose Riverside. We chose Riverside to build our lives here, raise our family here. We did so because we love it. And I always tell people, when you choose Riverside, Riverside chooses you. Anything you want to do here is possible. And there's always somebody or some group that will help make your dreams a reality. So since being sworn in on December 8th as Riverside's 18th mayor, my team and I have really hit the ground running. Last week, I did my very first State of the City address. It was one unlike any other because it was virtual. We've never had that before. But in that State of the City, I shared my collective vision for Riverside, of us working together towards tomorrow. And my sincerest core belief that Riverside's best days are ahead of us. So you can find the speech on our city's website or our Facebook page or our YouTube page, anything, if you haven't seen it. But I will close by saying that one thing I mentioned that I think is very exciting is, I mentioned it in my address, was the fact that I'm going to conduct what I call a big tent tour of all of our neighborhoods in Riverside. I want to go around to each neighborhood, and I want to experience with each of you what makes your neighborhood home. And I would love for Albert to be part of this, and for all of your students and families in your neighborhoods there. I ask that you share the needs of your neighbors, your neighborhoods, and your students with us so we can make Riverside better and more inclusive. I also want to let you know that as I have had several meetings with Governor Newsom and with a group of the big city mayors. It's the top 12 cities in the state. And I just want to let you know, we've been really pushing on trying to get our students back in the classroom. As a mom and a board member, you know, I've got a student in school now too, my youngest. I know this is critical, it's crucial. And every day we are lobbying to get our students back and get them back safely and keep our staff safe. So with that, I just, you know, if there's anything I can do to support any of you, most of you are friends. I'm glad to see you all. Don't hesitate to contact my office. I believe President Vega has my contact info and my staff. Happy to reach out, but you can always call our office at 951-826-5551, or you can email me at the number 2, mayor@riversideca.gov, mayor@riversideca.gov. So I'm grateful to have the partnership of this board as we work to achieve our shared vision for our city and our students, and really looking forward to a day where we, hopefully soon, where we can come back together safely and our kids can come back together safely as well. So thanks very much. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mayor Locke Dawson, for being here. We look forward to working with your office and the city of Riverside to help our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and happy birthday again. So next is a Ward 6 update from Councilmember Jim Perry.
All right, thank you. Superintendent Musarino, President Vega, board, cabinet, and virtual guest. I'm going to start a little bit different tonight. I'm going to talk about some of the actual housing projects that are taking place within the ward. And I'll start with the one that we just had a community meeting last night. It's located on Magnolia and Banbury. It's a mixed use site consisting of 450 units. We're still working with the community on this project, and it's going to be going to the Planning Commission on the 18th of this month. So we'll have a little bit more direction by the end of the month. La Sierra and Colette, been getting a few phone calls lately, seeing some social media regarding the apartments that are being built at La Sierra and Colette. Those are not apartments. Those are 37 single family detached homes. They are market rate, and 7 of those are designated for low income families, and they've actually done the grading, and I suspect they're going to be doing some foundation work here probably starting very soon. The rain's probably put them just a little bit behind. The third project is actually up at Tyler near Wells, actually at the corner of Tyler and Mall. There are 45 market rate apartments going in there. Those are going to have a design that'll have the appearance of a townhome. That developer has also promised to incorporate some public art into their project. One of the things they're going to be doing is taking the rain cross. It's a gated facility, or complex, I should say, and they're going to take the rain cross, put it on the gate, and then they're going to incorporate some public art within the landscaping that'll be facing Tyler. So those are 3 housing projects that are coming in the neighborhood and potentially could supply or provide students for the school district, which is a good thing. I want to talk a little bit just about the Kmart lot up at Arlington and Van Buren. I think I spoke about this last month. This is good news. There is a developer who has just finished escrow on that property. The Kmart site is actually going to be broken down into 3 different stores. There's going to be a supermarket. I don't think I'm allowed to say which supermarket's going in there right now, but there will be a Ross, and then there's going to be an auto parts store that will incorporate the large building. They are going to be adding a couple of drive-through restaurants out on Van Buren. One of those I think is going to be Panda, and they're going to be making an extensive, they're going to be actually transforming the whole property. They are going to be putting a great deal of landscaping into that piece of property. So that complex is going to go from looking kind of bad to being completely transformed. And they're hoping to start doing some work probably by June. So we've gone a couple years with it kind of locked up and fenced off. And like I said, transformed and bringing some vitality back to that intersection. I want to close with a couple projects we've been working on with a few of the elementary schools. Last month I talked about the butterfly art that's in the Mariposa Alley by City Hall. So we talked to the principals at Orenma and Foothill, and both schools have accepted taking on some of the butterflies and incorporating them into the school. I think there's a little bit of work that's going to be done in each school site. One of them I think is due for some painting. So we'll be working with them. There's an option of us, I think, putting or attaching the butterflies to your building, or having you guys do that, but we can work that out somewhere down the road as well. The last thing is with Orenma. Orenma is starting a lemonade stand program to help teach some business skills to the students. They were looking for a site, and we have possibly connected them with the gallery at Tyler. I know we connected them with Jim Fuson, and it's a matter of Mrs. Taylor and Jim Fuson working together to see if they can pull off an event that'll take place over at the Galleria. The Galleria is one of those great community partners who wants to do as much as they can to be part of the community. So I suspect if there's a way to do it, Jim Fuson will figure that out. So thank you for having me once again this evening. And as always, if anyone out, you or anybody out in virtual TV land needs anything, please get a hold of us. We're not hard to find, and we'd be very happy to assist you in any way we can. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for joining us, Councilmember Perry. Now on to Award 7 update from Councilmember Hemingway.
All right, thank you, President Vega, board members, Superintendent Mussolino, and all the others here. One of the main things have been getting asked about is vaccinations, right? And so I know there are many throughout the county here in Riverside, but one we want to note today is the Riverside Convention Center, Lot 33. So those are limited doses, 500 per day, and that's available for folks 65 and older in the phase 1 and 1A and 1B category, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you've tried to get an appointment, you know, they fill up fast all over the place. You have to keep trying sometimes, but if you'd like more info, it's vaccine.riversideca.gov. You can find some more information there, and continue to check the website regularly. There are multiple places to look throughout the county, and I know some new things are happening from the state level to make sure that this vaccine gets rolled out as quickly as possible. So just keep looking out for ways that you can get plugged in there. Another little thing, Little Free Pantry. The City of Riverside has partnered with Riverside Mutual Aid Network and IEHP, and they're launching Little Free Pantry. It's a little program for folks struggling with food insecurities, and they're asking, it's sort of a pantry of give and take. If you have some items and think of things that you would want to receive, so unexpired food, some hygiene products, paper items, and if there's things that you need, you can take the things that you need. So it's a give and take, sort of like a book exchange or pantry, right? And if you want to participate, you can email neighbor@riversideca.gov. And here's an important part. We're looking for residents or businesses or community-based organizations in Ward 7, particularly that we're looking for them, and I think they would look for them wherever, to host a pantry on their property. And so to steward that space and look after it, you can apply for that. You'll receive an unfinished pantry kit, a $115 gift card to Home Depot, a $200 gift card to Northgate, and that'll help facilitate the installation, the painting, decorating, stocking of items. Here's the thing, the deadline to apply is tomorrow, but you could likely just apply anyway, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have as many folks participating. So again, for more information, neighbor@riversideca.gov, or you can contact my office, and we'll be sure to get more information for you. One other thing to note, you've seen Harupa is open, at least the new stretch of Harupa. And that honeymoon period was short. They're already getting some concerns about fast traffic moving along there. So there's going to be a little bit more study to see if there's a way to mitigate that. But the good news is there's new homes going there. I think they've sold 41 already, and they're going to start the process of getting 40 to 60 other spaces available. That'll probably mean more families and students to the Alvord space. And so a really nice area. If you haven't seen it, you can drive through there now. Again, the new little section of Harupa that's open, and we're grateful for that space. We've also been getting some complaints, as maybe you've heard about or seen on some Facebook or whatnot, but on the La Sierra Hills space, there's some off-roading going on. We are working on that. We're working with city staff and the property owner and the property manager to see what we can do to address that. It's, I think, with folks having more time at home and needing to get out, and there's a little bit, it's exacerbated the problem a little bit, but we are working on it. Our office is working on it. Just a couple other quick things. As we'd mentioned in a previous update, the city of Riverside had temporarily suspended parking enforcement, but as of February 1, we're doing street sweeping, and that enforcement is back in effect. And so while they will be enforcing the parking, there is a little bit of a grace period to give a little reminder for about 30 days. But just kind of note that that's going to be happening, and we wouldn't want anyone to get a ticket. So you can find out more information there, riversideca.gov/publicworks. And then lastly, just a nice thing to end this little update is at the end of this past year, our office, Ward 7 office, received a phenomenal donation of $1,000 in the form of 10 Northgate gift cards from a Riverside resident, Miss Melissa McKeith. And we are so grateful for that gift. And we, in conversation with the school board, we've decided that it would be great. We put that into Alvord Cares for students and their families that could really need a little extra. And so perhaps this February break, they'll be receiving more of those. But we just want to give a big thank you to Ms. McKeith for that donation and all the great assistance that it'll give to families and students here in Alvord. So again, thanks so much. If there's anything my office can do to be helpful, don't hesitate to reach out, and we're here for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hemingway. On to our District 1 update from Mayor Jackie Casillas.
Hi, everyone. So happy to be with you. Good evening. I have 4 things to report back on today. And the first is a little bit of a sobering milestone. Last night at our council meeting, Chief Young, our Fire Chief Young, who's the head of the Emergency Response Center, gave us an update on the impact of COVID. And unfortunately, we have lost 180 coronans to the virus. That's 1 in every 1,000 corona residents. So with the new variants, we are just imploring everyone to maintain social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands, and sign up for a vaccine. I know it's really hard, but just keep trying. And I know that we're working with the county to really increase the number of vaccines that are available. They're working diligently to try to make that happen. We have a couple of vaccine centers. Corona High is a really great location for that. So just keep trying, and hopefully we can get a hold of this this virus. My second update is Foothill at Paseo Grande and the entire stretch of Foothill Parkway was closed on Saturday for road repairs. It will be closed again this Saturday and next. There was some impact of the rain and just work that needed to get done. So that's a very popular street that folks use to cross to get across town. So just heads up, Saturday, Foothill Parkway will be closed. My third update is that we are launching our very first Emprendedores program through our Economic Development Department. That's entrepreneurs in Spanish, Emprendedores. It is an 8-week, once-a-week course, and it will be all in Spanish for a 30-person cohort of new entrepreneurs. And this was the first time we've tried something like this with our new Economic Development Director, Jessica Gonzalez, and we had 70 signups. So we are facing the very good problem of having to already plan for workshop number 2. So this is a workshop that's really going to help entrepreneurs start their business here in Corona. It's a way for us to assist our local business owners, and there will be an English entrepreneur course in the spring as well. Lastly, we are right in the middle of the strategic plan. Actually, we're towards the end. This is our 5-year vision and goals for the city. And in it, you will find all of the goodies about maintaining a strong economy, financial stability, a safe community, a high-performing government. But the one thing that's different, and I'm very excited about, is that we are setting intentional goals to create a sense of place. And so one of our big missions in the next 5 years for the city of Corona is to really build community through celebration of our rich heritage, increasing access to recreational and cultural activities, and improving the relationship between the city and the residents. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. If you follow me on social media, I have a draft strategic plan. If you'd like to take a look and give me your feedback, we'd love to incorporate it before we put our final stamp of approval on this. And as always, I'm available office hours and just text messaging or email, and we'll set it up. And my cell phone's 951-833-6951. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
very
you so
much.
much, Mayor Casillas. Thank you to all the representatives that were here tonight. It means a lot to our community that you take time out of your day, out of your busy schedules, to come and speak to our communities, to our Outward family. So thank you for that. On to public comment. As authorized by Governor Newsom's Executive Order N2920, dated March 17, 2020, the Auburn Unified School District will conduct all meetings of the governing board via teleconference until further notice. The meetings will be conducted via Zoom. Spanish simultaneous interpretation is available via the Zoom platform. All meetings may also be viewed live on our district YouTube channel on the day of the meeting and are recorded to be viewed after the meeting. Pursuant to Executive Order N2920, the governing board will take public comment. All public comments must be submitted in writing in advance of the meeting. Please submit your written public comments to superintendent@alfredschools.org no later than 9 a.m. on February 4th, 2021. During the governing board meeting, written public comments received in a timely manner will be read for the governing board. Pursuant to Board Bylaw 9323, public comment period will be limited to 20 minutes. Duplicate public comments will not be read during the meeting. However, all written public comments will be provided to the governing board in advance of the meeting. Dr. Musarino, at this time, do we have any public comments?
We do not, Madam President.
Okay, in that case, we'll move on to our special recognition. Each time we have a recognition, I change my background, and I hope you can guess what this background is. It is our Loma Vista Middle School. So I will pass it along to Dr. Casillas to read off the recognitions.
Thank you so much. I get to share my screen, right?
Yes, you do.
No.
Mario
Not yet.
or Dr. Musarino, if you can share host capabilities.
Dr. Casillas, try it now. It should be good to go.
Yes. Good evening, President Vega, board members, Superintendent Musarino, cabinet members, guests, and staff. We at Loma Vista are recognizing this evening some outstanding Lions. We have many individuals from our staff, students, and parents that have made Loma Vista a great place to be. Just to showcase a little bit of Loma Vista, this past Friday, it was a rainy Friday, as we all may or may not be aware of, but we at Loma Vista recognized over 300 students that received honor roll or principal's honor roll. We also broke our lunch record and distributed 597 meals in the rain. As we continue our distant learning, we continue to engage our students, family, and staff through spirit days and virtual activities. Although this school year looks a little different, the following individuals have not skipped a beat. Whether we see them in person or virtually, what you see is pretty much what you get. Let me begin by recognizing our student, Camila Rocha, as the Alvord Unified School District Student of the Month for the month of February. Camila is currently an 8th grade student at Loma Vista and has been in Alvord since kindergarten. Although many students came to mind, Camila stood out for a few reasons. Some of her teachers stated the following: Camila is kind, respectful, and positive. She has a contagious joy and is a diligent worker. Though there are many challenges to this year, Camila has handled herself with grace. She is an exemplar student and possesses the character traits of a great leader. Another teacher stated, she is one of the most hardworking and dedicated students I have had the pleasure of teaching. She goes above and beyond with each assignment to make sure it gets done with excellence. She has a remarkable aptitude for language arts with over an 11th grade reading level and exceptional writing skills. She is polite, kind, and driven. These sentiments are consistent from many who have interacted with Camila over the years at Loma Vista. As an eighth grader, she has obtained a 4.0 every semester since she started with us in 6th grade, and we can always count on Camila to be present in school every day. It is a great pleasure to honor Camila Rocha as the Alvord Unified School District Student of the Month for February.
Yay, Camila. Are you able to show yourself? I don't know if she's on here or wants to show herself. But okay.
Hi.
Hello, Camila. We are so proud. I just want you to know that the board and the entire district are so proud of you and your accomplishments. From everything I've heard, it's clear that your character says a lot about you and the leader that you're going to grow to be one day, and that even in challenging times, you're going to rise. I already know that. And I think you'll receive a copy of the letter that was just read. And I want you to read it whenever you're having a rough day to remind yourself that of everything that you're capable of who you are, and that we all believe in you. And so lastly, congratulations on being Student of the Month.
Thank you so much. This is really such an honor. I'm just really thankful for everything. I couldn't have done this, of course, without my teachers, my parents, my siblings, and I hope that this is the start of something new, that we have a good school year, that we don't have any more problems with distance learning. And thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for being here tonight with us.
Thank you, Camila. Moving on to our next honoree. Loma Vista is proud to recognize Bethany Rivera as the Alvord Unified School District Certified Employee of the Month. We at Loma Vista are truly fortunate to have Mrs. Rivera. Mrs. Rivera is a special education teacher that has been at Loma since 2010. During her tenure here, she has not only become the department chair for her department, but has become a leader who advocates for all students. Regardless of the situation at hand, Mrs. Rivera is positive and looks to make a difference on a daily basis. Her ability to connect with students is evident even in the virtual world. She is authentically caring and concerned for the well-being of our students. And I say our students, all students, not just the students she services. She knows them all. She has also continued to lead our ASB at Loma Vista, and despite our pandemic, has created opportunities for our students, families, and staff in promoting school spirit. Mrs. Rivera is always looking for ways to increase her capacity, and you will hear her say, I want to learn more about that. When you walk into her classroom, whether in person or virtual, you can see she does not miss a beat and looks to engage her students. She is a true innovator. We can always count on her positivity and smile, which I know makes a difference. We at Loma have the privilege to have her as a colleague, friend, and teacher. It is a great pleasure to honor Bethany Rivera as Alvord Unified School District Certificated Employee of the Month of February.
Congratulations, Ms. Rivera. Thank you so much for all that you do for our students, for going above and beyond for them. And even during a time like this, when it seems more difficult to engage our students, you've adapted and grown to meet their needs. So the board is so proud and grateful to have you, as part of our family, as our Alvord family. And congratulations on being Certificated Employee of the Month.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I'm proud to be a member of the Alvord family as well. Thank you, thank you.
And now moving on to our next recognition. Loma Vista would like to recognize Miss Rosa Dela Cruz. We call her Miss Rose at Loma Vista as our classified employee of the month. Miss Rose, as she is referred to by all of us at Loma, is truly amazing. She has been our clerk here at Loma since 2017. During her tenure at Loma, she is the person parents interact with first, both on-site and during our current virtual world. Miss Rose is a true asset to Loma. She is always looking for ways to streamline processes, ensuring we are meeting the needs of our families. Miss Rose is always looking for ways to build also her capacity and ensure she is up to date with how to use technology as well as software. We all turn to her for tutorials. In addition, Miss Rose makes it a point to listen for underlying messages parents and students may not state directly. She is in tune with the needs of our community as well as ensures that any family in need is on Loma's radar. She has a way with our families that has established a level of trust that allows us to ensure we are not just meeting the educational needs for our families, but also social, emotional, and basic necessities. We can always count on Ms. Rose to jump into action for our kids. It is a great pleasure to honor Rosa Dela Cruz as the Alvord Unified School District Classified Employee of the Month.
Yay, congratulations. Ms. Rose, how wonderful it is to hear that, you're able to connect not only with our students, but with their families as well. It's so important to be able to build those positive relationships and trust. So thank you for everything that you do and for staying up to date with technology and being mindful of the social and emotional needs of our families, especially right now with this pandemic. So the board is proud to have you as a Classified Employee of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Casillas. I don't know if you can hear me. I thank you for your kind and beautiful words. Anything that I do it with love. I love our community. I like to help our kids and the parents. I feel for them. I know it's difficult for them a lot of them are immigrants who don't know their way around. And so I am an immigrant, and I had somebody who helped me, so now it's my turn to pay it forward. So thank you, and I love Alvord. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. And our next recognition, they come as a pair, is for Erika Rodriguez and Maria Dolores Fair as our Volunteers of the Month. Loma Vista is proud to recognize both Erika and we call her Lola. So as our those are how we refer to them. But if you know Mrs. Rodriguez and you know Mrs. Claire, you know they're a package deal. I have had the honor to know both families since their children began their educational careers in elementary school, and now I have the honor to serve them in middle school. Mrs. Rodriguez and Mrs. Claire are always looking for ways to support our students. They are involved in our PTO, ELAC, and have served on our school site council. They look for ways to be involved in order to take action and create opportunities for meeting the needs of all students. We at Loma know that if we reach out to them for any need, they will always assist in any way possible. During the school closure, they have been critical as they have kept an eye out on the community and ensure we are meeting the needs of our families. It is a great pleasure to honor and recognize Erika Rodriguez and Maria Dolores Fair as the Alvord Unified School District Volunteers of the Month for the month of February.
Yay, congratulations to you both. I hope you know that your involvement in your children's education makes a big impact, and not just for them, but for the other students that you're helping as well. I remember the volunteers that would help out at my elementary and middle school, and they still hold a special place in my heart. So thank you so much for all the hours that you've dedicated to the students, the schools, and the district. So we're grateful to have you tonight as the Volunteers of the Month. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And here I just want to close out with a couple pictures of what we have been going on at Loma Vista virtually and also in person. The pictures off to the right side are from last week. Our line went all the way down La Sierra for awards and lunches. We also actively continue to service, since our closure, our librarian has been active in ensuring our kids still get books. We check out books to our students daily, and on Fridays, we provide craft activities for our students through our makerspace. So we're trying to maintain connected with our community and making sure that students are not just reading, but engaging with different school activities that we know that they need, some free screen time as well. I want to congratulate our honorees and commend them for always shining. You all make a difference, and we are fortunate to have you as part of our Loma Vista family. Thank you so much.
Again, congrats to everybody. Thank you, Loma, for being here. You brought some amazing people today for us. So that brings us to our Board of Education and Superintendent comments. Let's start off with Trustee Schwant. We can't hear you.
Ready. Well, a couple of things, actually a couple of them have already been mentioned. Patricia Locke-Dawson, I wanted to make a comment about her new position as mayor in the city of Riverside and how specifically it's going to help our district and the city. Her background in education for many years, and that's her passion, is dealing with students and with children and moving the whole city forward. She did it with the AUSD and now is going to be doing it with the city, but she'll be a big advocate for us, and she understands what's been going on within the school districts. The other one has to do with her reputation of getting things done. I know when candidates come up and they're going to be running and such, I always try to do background research. And she has an excellent reputation about agreeing to do something and making sure that it happens. It doesn't just get highlighted and then disappear. It gets done. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity we have of working with her and helping our district move forward. The other one, Jim Perry, I don't know if he's still with us or not. He mentioned the housing project on La Sierra and Colette and how there was a misunderstanding that it was going to be apartments, but it's single family housing because that's what's in that area. And that's what the residents wanted. That's not what the developers had proposed initially. They proposed some single and some apartments, and that didn't go along with what was in there right now. So Jim was a strong advocate for our area to make sure that it stayed in consistency with what was around there. So thank you to Jim for doing that. And the other one I wanted to touch on was Steve Hemingway. The next item I was going to talk about is gifts to our district. And he highlighted Alvord Cares receiving $1,000 worth of gift cards from Northgate. So Steve, thank you for that. We appreciate it. It not only helps our school district, but also the community. So thank you very much. The other one has to do with, I lost my place on one of them. But I'll leave it for that. We have the rest of our board that needs to get some comments. But thanks to all of you for what you're doing. Bethany, congratulations. We go quite a ways back, and she goes back with my son as well. So we've had a knowledge of each other for quite a while. So congratulations. Lizette?
All right, done. Thank you, Trustee Schwant. On to Trustee Wilson.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. Thank you, Councilman Hemingway and Lizette Vega, our president, for giving us Alvord Cares, the opportunity to have those gift cards. And we know that they are from, and we want to thank Melissa McKeith from Northgate Grocery as well. So we're very excited to receive them, but I know that you guys have so many people that you could have given those to. So we feel very blessed and honored that you chose Alvord Cares because we'll be able to give them to our students and their families. And it's just so much needed. So thank you so very much. And just know that they're going to go to good use. And I'm just so excited. I know everybody's thanked you, but I'm like, yay, Albert Cares. So thank you so very much. And I'm just so grateful that you guys thought of Albert Cares and our community. It means so much. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about, I wanted to share a little bit of exciting news and an event that has happened with a graduate of our Albert's Unified School District. His name is Jared Kraft. He has published a children's book that teaches that all people are special and unique. And I just wanted to show you it here. I don't know if you can see it. Oh no. Maybe if I go back, I don't know. It's just so darling, and it's about a little child that she was born with a birthmark on her face. And so they sent this to me, and I always like to show the accomplishments of our alumni from Alvord. And you can get, it's called Seek the Unique. And it's just darling. I know you can't see it. I'm so bummed. But he sent it to me, and I was just so excited. So this is what we do. Our Alvord family goes out and does amazing things. They come and they come back and they share them with us. So I'm so excited. And I also want to do, oh, there you can see it there, kind of. A little plug that it is a former board member's son. And it's Mr. Greg Kraft, who was on the Board of Education. It is his son that did this. And so, and you can get this at Amazon and Barnes and Noble or whatever, but I just wanted to share it with you just to show you that we have such amazing, amazing students that go out into this big, beautiful world and do brilliant things. So I am just so pleased and so grateful that they shared this with me. And then one more thing, and two more things. I want to, again, congratulate everybody that was honored tonight, all the honorees from Loma Lions. You guys make a difference in our district, and you're a part of our family, and you're wonderful, and we love you. And we are just so excited, and we can't wait to celebrate you all very soon in the big district room. We'll have a big party with all the ones that have done this virtually, and we'll all be together and we can hug and we can do all the fun things that we do. So looking forward to that evening as well, because we really do appreciate everything that the Loma Lions are doing for all of our students. And we know that we're asking an awful lot because it's just that time of, it's what we're in right now, but we appreciate everything you do. And we love you guys. Lastly, this is another wonderful thing about our students. I had a mom call me, and she has a Girl Scout troop, and her name is Joanna, and she's just a sweet, sweet mom. And this is from Promenade, and her Girl Scout troop is called the San Gorganios. I am hoping I'm saying that's right. I hate when I destroy someone's name, but they came up to my house, pulled up in wagons because we're still doing our socially distancing, and they had 5 cases of nuts and berries and dried berries and things to give to Alvord Cares for our community. So if you, I mean, there's just not, does it get any better than that? Does it get any better than that students are just caring for students? They know that the need is out there and they want to be a part of it. So once again, even in the most difficult of times that we're in right now, wow, the Alvord family is strong and support one another and are just showing that we really care and that we're there together and that we're going to get through this together. So again, I thank everybody for always supporting and showing their dedication and love to Alvord Cares and to our community. And just thank you for everybody, because there was just, when they pulled up in those 2 little wagons, that was it. I was crying like a baby on my front porch. So thank you very much to the Girl Scouts. And with that, I thank you, President Vega, and I will turn over my time to you.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Amazing announcements that you had today for us. I'm gonna give it to Trustee Dorado.
Hi, good evening. I'm going to start by mentioning our honorees that are still here with us today. I know you're representing Loma Vista, and like you said, it's a Alvord family. I actually myself interned in La Sierra for a couple. That's how I met Bethany. Actually, I was an intern for my master's program for counseling, and I know you guys are doing fabulous things at Loma. It's part of my trustee area, and it's an honor to be represented by such powerful force. You have, Dr. Casillas there. You have, I just met, Maria. Thank you for joining us, and all the wonderful, the Rochas that are here. Just thank you for representing Loma. You make us proud. And I want to mention, I don't think we've ever held, since I've served in the board, we've actually held a board meeting on the first week of February. It's so great that it landed on National School Counseling Week. So when we talk about how hard, I mean, endless hours that our teachers or staff or our administration are putting in during this pandemic, virtual learning and teaching, I want to just extend my gratitude because I know our counselors are doing a lot. You know, this is creating awareness this week that our counseling team, whether you're elementary, middle school, or high school, we're honored to be serving you as a board, because we know that during this pandemic, you're not only addressing academic, resources that deal with academic and learning and virtual, you're also helping students dealing with grief, trauma, so much emotional things that they're dealing with during this time. So, and that's why I want to highlight you, because I'm actually excited because you guys make us very proud, and we're happy to honor you, to be serving for you. Also, something that I did pick up in the news this week, it's a statistic that I heard from the UC system. They actually mentioned that the UC system, as a university system, has seen an influx of 18 to 30% in some universities of admissions, like their admission application has increased this application season. But not only for just in general application, they've seen specifically an increase for students of color, Hispanic, and Black students. They do owe a lot of the credit to not having SAT, ACT score requirements, but I also know as a school counseling, as a counseling week, I do want to give that benefit to those school counselors that I know you're working very hard to make sure your families and your high schools and students that are seniors are making them aware that they don't need an SAT and ACT, and they're high achievers, just like our Camila, that are students that work very hard and often sometimes don't have the money, the resources to go take a test, and they very well deserve a seat in this UC system. So it made me very happy to hear that statistic, and I look forward, because I know our students are already getting admissions letters. So I've been hearing from a lot of students getting admissions letters to Cal State. So I'm really hoping that during this pandemic, we're just opening seats to a brighter future when that time comes, which would be in hopefully soon with this vaccine rolling out. And then lastly, as we're talking about counseling awareness, I do want to bring the attention to a lot of scholarships. There's a lot of spring scholarships out there, families. I just saw that Cardenas, our supermarket, has announced that they're renewing their $2,000 scholarship that's due this March coming up. So counselors, I know counseling awareness, I'm just putting it out there for our community to know that there's a ton of scholarships. So just keep applying, it doesn't hurt to have that extra money in addition to the financial aid from the federal or state government. And I think that wraps it up for me. I know that we've been attending several events. We've been hearing from the city address, and I'll let the rest of the colleagues highlight those items. So thank you again.
Thank you, Trustee Dorado. Next, Trustee Moreno.
Thank you so much, President Vega. Again, this has been a really big 2 weeks since we've last been together. So much has happened within the district, and I'm grateful to my colleagues for mentioning and highlighting so many of them. Of course, congratulations to every single one of you who have been honored this evening. So much amazing things that are happening in your school with your students, and I cannot thank you enough for all you do. Camila, I cannot wait to see you in the future and how you're going to go out and take on this world. I'm extremely proud of you. I know you're going to go on to do some amazing things, and just like Trustee Wilson showed a former student's works, I hope to hear from you as you continue your journey through life. We're extremely proud of you. I'd also like to congratulate all of our counselors and thank them with all that we're going through. They've really had to do so much more, and they've given so much of themselves. And I know it's kind of been one of those things that I don't think they've clocked out. I think every single moment, if they are not physically sitting at their desks, they are thinking about the next student and what they're going to do next and how they're going to approach a situation. And they're like this before the pandemic. But during this pandemic, it's really put a magnifying glass to everything that you all do on a daily basis. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for giving all of yourselves to our students on a daily. As Trustee Dorado mentioned, UCs, Cal States, they're receiving enormous want from our students to go on and pursue their education. And those seeds get planted right here in our system here in Alvord. And you are a testament to the reason why our students are choosing to continue on with their education. So I just thank you all so very much. I wish it could be more than just this short time to celebrate you. It would be all the time, would be great. It's definitely merited. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Dr. DeVore and her team, because we were blessed to participate virtually, which how our teams continue to think outside of the box and allow our students to not skip a beat and still continue to participate with the joys that come with their academic career here in Alvord. That is our spelling bee and our science fair has taken place during this lag time between our last meeting and this board meeting. Thank you, Dr. DeVore and your team. I really, had it not been for usually my colleagues and I, we look forward to these nights. They're the highlights of our time and what we get to do as trustees. And being able to still have that, it was absolutely incredible. So thank you to each and every single one of you who I know worked very hard behind the scenes to make that happen. And to our students who participated in both the science fair and the spelling bee, congratulations to you to continuing to show not just your peers, not just your teachers and your support staff, but every single person that there's nothing that's going to hold you back. The sky is the limit. You will persevere and you will continue to do amazing things. So thank you for being a pure example of light in what can be some dark times for us lately. But Alvord, you have not skipped a beat. I am so proud to be a part. And that leads me to the last thing that I would like to say is thank you to Dr. Cabeza and all of her support team at La Sierra High School. I was blessed to be able to witness a drive-through honor roll award ceremony yesterday. Again, outside of the box thinking causes our families and our students to feel celebrated, to feel hopeful, and to know that they are loved. So again, thank you to all for continuing to make Alvord proud, especially this Board of Education. We are just beaming of joy. So thank you so much, President Vega. That'll be all for me.
Thank you, Trustee Moreno. It's always hard to follow you because you're so, I don't know, enthusiastic. I love it. It's great. On behalf of the board, I want to congratulate all of our 2021 Employees of the Year for the district. I wish we could celebrate together. I wish we could do this whole party. But hopefully, you know, when this is all over, we can still celebrate. I do want to highlight, though, our counselors to piggyback off of Dr. Dorado and Trustee Moreno. I want to highlight our Elementary Counselor of the Year, Erica Marquez from Twin Hill Elementary School. And then our Middle School Counselor of the Year, Maureen Snyder from Arizona Middle School. And then our High School Counselor of the Year, which is also our District Counselor of the Year, Ms. Teresa Beerbaum. So congratulations to our Counselors of the Years for everything that you do, for going above and beyond. But on that note, I would also like to thank our Confidential Employee of the Year, Ms. Myra Figueroa, who is the Executive Assistant to the Board of Education. Myra, I don't get to work a lot with, you know, the employees of the district, but we work together and she's always keeping me on check, reminding me of different events or of things that I have to get done. So thank you so much, Myra, for being there for me, for the board, for always keeping us on task. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And that will be all for me. Dr. Musarino, your comments?
Yes, well, thank you, Madam President. I removed myself so I don't block out what you're all seeing here on my background, which is National School Counseling Week. My colleagues on the board certainly have eloquently stated just how we feel about our counselors. They're amazing. And again, my background being a principal, I know exactly what it is that counselors do. And during this pandemic, of course, they have risen like all of our employees, our teachers, our administrators, our moms, our dads, our kids. So thank you for what it is you do. You know, words are cheap and we can't say enough of them. And we certainly could not truly capture how we feel about all of our employees and those who are our employees of the year. Congratulations, but all of the unsung heroes, the people who make our district go, the people who wake up in the morning and come to serve our children in our community. So it's just an absolute privilege to work with you all. We have two Jackie Casillas here tonight. We had the mayor of Corona, and then of course we have our esteemed principal of Loma, Dr. Jackie Casillas. And Camila, as I was listening to you and listening about you, I thought to myself, you know, whether you become a principal, a mayor, or the president of the United States someday, it'll be an absolute honor that we would have this opportunity to meet you and honor you tonight, as well as continue to serve you as a student. You are why we do what we do. So congratulations to you and keep up the incredible good work. Mrs. Cuellar, Mrs. Rodriguez, God bless you. Thank you for what you do, your volunteers, your just stepping up to join us in our efforts to serve our kids and just help our kids get to where they want to be, to realize their dreams. Mrs. De La Cruz, when I visit your school, I see your smiling face when I walk in the office, and I miss visiting so much. I miss my colleagues. I miss our kids, and invariably, whenever I'm at Loma, I always get an opportunity to see Mrs. Rivera because she's usually out there dancing in the quad or doing something. She's even handed her classroom off to me and let me read to her kiddos, and just incredible. Plus professional development. Even joined a podcast last spring to talk about distant learning and how we meet the needs of particularly our most vulnerable children, who we certainly are very, very anxious to get back on our campuses. Mr. Hutchinson is here as well, the assistant principal at Loma, and the Loma family here, and all that aren't here tonight, but I'm sure they're watching, the great, great staff of Loma Vista. Just a wonderful, wonderful school. Alfred Cares, the organization, as well as, yeah, Alfred Cares. It says it all. We continue to serve our community. This is what we do during the pandemic. We just do more of it. Much like we recognize how much all of the learning loss and challenges of the pandemic are, it certainly has exacerbated the issue. Well, same on our end. We continue to do what we do, and we just do more of it wherever those needs happen to be. So the donations, the volunteers, the incredible amount of people who are stepping up and going beyond the call of duty in the name of our kids. Again, it's why we chose to be educators. And sometimes you just have to pinch yourself and recognize just how blessed we are to do what we happen to do. And my fellow board members, again, thank you for continuing to do what you do and be the face of this district, to care deeply about our respective communities, and our fellow Alvordians who we every day go into what we love to do with each other by each other's side. So with that, Madam President, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Mustarina, for those comments. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and everyone who's here. That brings us to our consent agenda. Your superintendent recommends approval of consent agenda items 8A1 through 8C5. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted upon by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board request specific items to be discussed and are removed from the consent agenda. There are no items to be removed or discussed, correct? No. Okay, so may I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
So first by Trustee Wilson, second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No discussion. All right, let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson?
Aye.
Trustee Schwant?
Aye.
Trustee Moreno?
Aye.
Trustee Dorado?
Aye.
And I am an aye. So motion passes. On to action items. Report out any action items taken in closed session. Trustee Moreno?
Thank you so much, President Vega. This evening, the Board of Education took action with the recommendation to reinstate case number 2019-20-9. The motion was by Mr. Schwant and seconded by Ms. Wilson, and the vote was 5 yeas, 0 no. The Board of Education also took action this evening in regards to accepting a special education settlement agreement number 20-21-01. The motion, was Mr. Schwant as the first and seconded by our president, Ms. Vega. The vote was ayes, Vega, Dorado, Moreno, Schwant, and Wilson. That is all that we have in closed session this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Moreno. On to business services, a 9B1, accept the district's audited financial report as of June 30th, 2020. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Wilson, second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? Okay.
Well, we have to ask Andrew a question if he's here.
Where is Andrew? Oh, there he is.
We do have a presentation.
I am fully available for the board as usual. So I thought you were going to skip me.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. Apologies.
No, not a problem, not a problem. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here again and Happy New Year. Rather an unusual platform, but I'm pretty sure by now all of us are pretty used to this. I think I've done about 30 presentations over the Zoom thing now. So yeah, but so before I begin, as you know, I mean, yeah, we were working under pandemic conditions and just like auditors, we kind of struggled. But I do have to give your district, especially your business services department, a lot of credit. So just to give you some statistics on what your business services had to do in terms of accommodating for us in order for us to remote audit. So we had a portal set up where the district was supposed to upload documents electronically, okay? The district uploaded 544 electronic documents, okay? These are basically scanned documents, a combination of scanned documents, spreadsheets, and just a whole slew of things that we need. This is not including the email correspondences that went back and forth. I would say at a minimum, that's another 100 documents. So I really want to thank the district for just really working with us. And it was a bit time consuming this year. And I do believe that first half of the year, unfortunately, we have to go through this again until we get over this. But again, we're very grateful and thankful that we're able to complete this audit and present to you in a timely fashion. I can't really say this for all of our other clients because I would say I have about 40% of district audits that are still ongoing because of this whole remote working pandemic and whole slew of issues with some of our clients. So it's been an unusual year, to say the least. Okay, so I'll start with that. So just to preface everything as far as what we do for the board. So as a reminder, we're your independent auditors and I report directly to the governing board. So effectively what we are is we're a report card for your school district's management. That's the best way to put it, okay? And you have a copy of the audit report. Do we have a copy of the audit report that we could kind of scan through? Okay, can we? Okay, awesome. All right.
Dusty delivered them to us personally, Andrew. She came to our home and delivered them to us. Is that incredible?
That is awesome. That is awesome. So with respect to the audit report, I mean, there's a lot of financial information in there. So I like to just kind of preface it by saying that the financial statement and the information pertaining or contained in the audit report is the district's responsibility. My responsibility is purely to audit the information and just report back to the board in terms of how the district did, especially your management. Now, as far as reporting is concerned, we provide different levels of assurance. So I'm going to use some technical terms here as far as the audit is concerned. So there's varying levels of assurances, okay? Highest level of assurance is an unmodified opinion. Please keep that in mind. Second level of assurance is a qualified opinion. And lastly, a disclaimer or an adverse opinion, okay? So I think the fastest way as a board member, when you get a technical document where you almost have to be a CPA and have a pretty intimate knowledge of school district finances to understand, really as a board member, what you want to kind of pinpoint on to get an idea of how the audit went is to refer to what we call the summary of auditor's results. That will be on page, I have no idea board members would actually have a paper copy of the audit report. It would have been a lot easier if I kind of started off on that page. It would be on page 104 of the audit report. Okay. And every year when you get the audit report, I would recommend all board members to just kind of flip to this page and just kind of get a glance what took place. You want to see a bunch of no's. That's probably the best way to approach this. But hopefully you are there. There's 3 boldface areas here. First is the financial statement. Second, federal awards, and lastly, state awards. So I'll go through each one and what the significance of each of the sections are. So under financial statements, again, our primary responsibility is really, I mean, if you think back to September 2020, I believe your CBO brought a document to board called the unaudited actuals. So if you think about it, really, those are unaudited. And for the most part, I would say 80% of my responsibility is to audit that information and report the results back, okay? Now, again, going back to the initial technical document, terminology that I use, you see an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, okay? Just to reiterate that this is the highest level of assurance that we provide. Now, we often get questions in terms of how do we get a modified opinion? Well, if I audit an area and I come up with a substantial difference, or what we would call a material difference, and I bring that forward to your CBO or whoever is running the business services department, and if they don't agree with me, then I would basically say, we're okay with all the areas in the financial statement except for, and I would qualify that area. So as you can see on the audit report, it is unmodified. So effectively, what we're saying is that we are in agreement with the information provided to us to audit, and we have no differences or disagreements as it relates to the financial statements. So in other words, it is a clean opinion.
Nice.
Okay? So
that made Dusty smile.
Great job, Dusty.
So Auburn Unified being a governmental entity, we are required to follow what's called government auditing standards. So bulk of our audit work really kind of revolves around processes and what we would call internal controls, okay? So to simplify, what we're doing is, if you process $1 of transaction through your district's control system or your processes that are implemented over financials, does that dollar get reported as $1 on the official financial statements, okay? And I mean, I overly simplified it. There's a lot more involved, but then that's what we would call internal controls. And under government auditing standards, we are required to heavily evaluate that area. And our responsibility is to report any deficiencies related to the district's internal controls as it relates to financial reporting. I am happy to report that we did not identify any deficiencies as it relates to the district's processes, checks and balances, or internal controls, whatever you want to call it, that there are no deficiencies that we've identified. Moving on to the second section, which pertains to federal award. So federal award is basically a requirement under the Single Audit Act. Now, what that is feds are basically saying, we'll give you the money, but there's got to be strings attached. And there's a certain threshold where the federal audit requirement kicks in. Now, if a non-federal entity receives and spends more than $750,000 in federal assistance a year, you are subject to what's called Uniform Guidance Single Audit Act, where independent auditors like myself would come in, evaluate your program, and render an opinion. So just to give you an idea in terms of how much Outward Unified spent during 1920, Outward spent close to $17.7 million in 1920 fiscal year. Okay, that's the amount of federal assistance that Outward received. So as you can see or hear, it's way in excess of the 750 required, and as a result, Outward was required to be audited. For the 1920 fiscal year, we were required to audit your Title I Part A funds, which really is federal assistance dedicated to provide assistance to your low-income students, and Title II Part A funds, which these are funds designated to provide instructional support for your teachers and teaching assistants. So those two programs were audited, and based on the audit procedures that we performed from a compliance standpoint, our opinion was unmodified. Again, we did not identify any issues that we had to bring forward to the board, and also we do file this audit with federal government, so we don't have anything that we need to report to the federal government as well. I also want to point out that we are also required to look at your checks and balances in place to ensure compliance. There was a reportable issue as it relates to controls, and we'll talk about that briefly. And yeah, we'll talk about that briefly as soon as I cover this. Last section is state compliance. So state compliance is a unique area. So state compliance is basically a series of audit procedures that are updated annually. We're actually still waiting for 2021's final audit procedures in light of all this pandemic. Normally we would have this by November, but we're still waiting for it. But annually, the state controller's office and legislators come up with an area where they want to target, where they want independent auditors to target and perform audit procedures. And these audit procedures are very step-by-step, and we follow them to the teeth, basically. And in case you're wondering, a full comprehensive list of all the audit programs that were, state programs that were required to audit is on page 101. Now, when you go to page 101, you're going to see a lot of yes notations and some no notations. Yes notations mean that it is applicable to the district, or the district received financial assistance, and as a result, there are strings attached and you are applicable. The requirements are applicable to the district. No means that it just, you either don't operate the program or you didn't receive financial grant, and as a result, you don't have to comply. So based on the procedures that we performed on all the yes notated programs, our opinion was unmodified. Yeah, our opinion was unmodified. A lot of information. Any questions before I briefly talk about the finding?
Robert, you're muted. I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I had one, Andrew.
Yes.
On the federal awards, it mentions a significant deficiency identified, but not considered a material weakness. Is there something that needs to be corrected?
Okay, so I'll explain the difference between material weakness and significant deficiency. So, I mean, these terms, these audit terminologies are rather confusing. So when you look at a material weakness, we're talking about a pervasive issue, okay? Now, when I say pervasive as it relates to a federal program, this is a program-wide issue, and there's about 14 compliance areas that we test. Now, if I were to render a material weakness finding, you have a pervasive issue among multiple compliance areas that we audit. In this case, as I get to it soon, it's just one single area that the district did not comply. So significant deficiency is a scaled down deficiency of a material weakness. And material weakness, think of it as a pervasive issue where it's just rampant.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's no action on our part needed?
No.
Okay.
So just to touch upon the finding itself, I'll be pretty brief on this, but it'll start on page 106. As far as the content is concerned, it needs to be presented in a very specific format as required by the federal government. So, I mean, it may look really bad, but I mean, the message is rather simple. So one of the requirements under your ESSA grants, these are all the US Department of Education grants that are coming in, you know, Title I, Title II, so on and so forth. Basically, what the feds want you to do is to reach out to any non-profit private schools and then provide a consultation to let them know that the funds are available and they could tap into it. The problem this year, or I mean, I don't think it's a big problem, but the district did not reach out to all the sites that are considered nonprofit in the area, and that's the only issue. Now, the question becomes, is there a fiscal penalty? No. This one is just, you either comply or you don't, and the feds want to know whether or not you complied or you did it. Okay, any questions on that?
Andrew, can I just add here, we missed 2 private schools, and that process has been corrected and they've been communicated with for 2021.
And Dusty, why is that so important for us to reach out? Explain that. I don't know, maybe the board already knows that, I don't.
So there are some federal requirements that we reach out to private schools to see if they would like to participate in some of our Title I and also CARES Act dollars.
Okay, got it. Now I understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
My question was answered already. Thanks. Thank you, Dusty.
So if there's no other questions, I'd like to kind of close out by saying that, you know, I normally deliver bad news all the time, unfortunately. I do have indirect good news. So if you compare last year's audit report with this year's audit report, you'll notice that there's 3 critical financial statement findings that I reported last year to the board. They're no longer there. So one bit of indirect good news, I guess. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Andrew, so much. And thank you, Dusty, and your team for putting this together. And I mean, it looks great. So thank you so much for everything. All right. So technically I already asked for a motion, so I don't think I have to do another one. Dusty, did you want to say something?
I would just like to really acknowledge my assistant director, Brett Heinbuch, and all of my accounts payable and budget staff, because those 544 documents are not just single pages, and they worked really well in this environment, and they just make me look good, and that's I'm just so proud of them.
Good.
Well, thank you to your team. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so in that case, I already asked for a motion in a second. Any discussion? Anything else? No? Okay, then let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson?
Aye.
Trustee Schwant?
Aye.
Trustee Moreno?
Aye.
Trustee Dorado?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. So motion passes. Now on to 9B2, accept the financial and performance audit report for the Measure H bond for June 30, 2020. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so first by Trustee Moreno and second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? Any questions?
Are we going to have a presentation on it?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think, were we? No, I think this one.
Andrew's available to answer any questions that the board may have on this particular audit report.
So there's no questions.
I don't know if this goes to Andrew, probably goes more to Dusty, but the 40 plus $1,000 that's left on that, do we know where it's going to be spent, or do we have a list of projects that it could be used for?
So the Measure H actually did fund some state projects that we are now getting reimbursed. And so as those dollars come back to the district to fund those other ones, we will have some more activity on Measure H. I'm working with Kevin Enemaker, who's our Executive Director of Administrative Services. He's in charge of the facilities and the business building projects. And so we'll be moving forward with some of the projects that weren't able to be done as those reimbursements come into us.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, well, there's no other questions. Thank you again, Andrew, for being here. Let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant.
Aye.
Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Motion passes. On to 9C, Educational Services. 9C1, adopt resolution number 36, African American History Month. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No? Okay, no discussion. Let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant.
Aye.
Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Motion passes. 9C2, review proposed revisions to board policies and administrative regulations, and we'll be waiving the second reading. May I have the second, may I have the motion?
So moved.
Okay, Trustee Moreno first. Did I hear a second?
Mine.
Okay, Trustee Wilson. All right, any discussion? No? Okay, so let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant.
Aye.
Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Motion passes. 9D, Human Resources. 91, approve personnel order number 11-2020-2021. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, got a first and second. Schwant and Trustee Wilson, I think it was. Any discussion? No? Okay, let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant. Trustee Schwant, you're muted. No, can't hear you. Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And Trustee Schwant, that was an aye, I heard.
Yeah, aye.
Okay, and myself is an aye. Motion passes. On to 92, conduct public hearing, proposed tentative agreement between Alvord Unified School District and the Alvord Educators Association regarding Article 8, salary and benefits for school years 2019 through 2020 and 2020 through 2021. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
First, Trustee Schwant, a second.
I'll second.
Second, Trustee Wilson. Any discussion? No. No? Okay. Go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant.
Aye.
Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Do we have anyone that wanted to speak for this item?
We do not, to my knowledge, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Musarino. In that case, we will close the public hearing. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Moreno, second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No? Okay. Let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Schwant.
Aye.
Trustee Moreno.
Aye.
Trustee Dorado.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. So 9D3, accept proposed tentative agreement between Alvord Unified School District and the Alvord Educators Association regarding Article 8, salary and benefits for school years 2019 through 2020 and 2020 through 2021. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Moreno, second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No
Well,
discussion?
a question here. There might be a discussion, but the physical impact numbers, is that going to be addressed, or we just, if we have questions, we ask them individually later, or is there going to be a discussion around that? I don't know. That's probably a hard way to voice it, but just so we're clear on what the numbers mean.
Does anyone know how to answer that?
Well, what are you speaking specifically of the fiscal impact as
Yes.
written?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Dusty, if you want to just briefly go through them and perhaps just lend a little more explanation to each.
But should that be in the next item? Because this is the hearing session.
No, no, we just closed the hearing.
Oh, we did close the hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the next
Okay.
item.
Sorry.
So the attached documents that are the AB 1200 document has a fiscal impact to the unrestricted and both the general fund, and then moves on. It's a required set of forms that the state and the county has. The first section and page discusses the impact of the agreement, and then the next section discusses and shows the impact just to the general fund. So when you see the next couple of items that come in, they will look somewhat different in that one is addressing the certificated agreement and one is addressing the classified agreement.
The on the physical impact, the 1.8 million, the first number, is that part of the 2.3 or is it 2.3 in addition to what is up there?
Let me
I guess
call that.
one's unrestricted, one's restricted, or?
Which page in particular, Trustee Schwant?
The first page has physical impact 1.8 million on the 9.D.3.
And I
At the
think
bottom
Trustee
of-
Schwann is
The agenda
referring
item.
specifically to the agenda item itself and the numbers on the fiscal impact.
Okay.
So the numbers simply just state where the dollars were coming from. Trustee Schwann.
So the physical impact, those three numbers above, the 1.8, 0.4, 2.3, if I add all those three up, will it come to 3.6?
Well, they're two separate. So the ongoing expense is one expense, and then the one-time expense is another. So there's two separate items. But again, this is simply just stating the impact in as much as how much the cost is and then where it is coming from.
Okay. Thank you. If I have questions, I'll follow up. I would respect everybody's time, but there's
Of
enough
course.
clarity for me.
Of course. You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Trustee Schwant. In that case, I'll go to a vote. Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Schwant,
Aye.
Trustee Moreno,
Hi.
Trustee Dorado,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. Motion passes. 94, conduct public hearing, proposed tentative agreement between Albert Unified School District and California School Employees Association and its Albert Chapter 339 for the 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021 school years regarding Appendix B wages. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
So
So moved by Trustee Moreno, second by Trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No? Okay, let's go to vote. Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Schwant,
aye.
Trustee Moreno,
Hi.
Trustee Dorado,
Aye.
and myself is an aye, so that it opens up the public hearing. Dr. Musino, do we have anyone that wants to speak?
We do not, Madam President.
Okay, in that case, I will close the public hearing. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Okay, move trustee Moreno.
I'll second. Oops, sorry.
Second, trustee Wilson. Okay. Any discussion? No, okay. Let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Schwant,
Aye.
trustee Moreno,
Aye.
trustee Dorado,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. That closes the public hearing. On to 95, accept proposed tentative agreement between Alvord Unified School District and California School Employees Association and its Alvord Chapter 3 through 9 for the 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 school years regarding Appendix B wages. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
So move trustee Moreno, second trustee Schwant. Any discussion? No? Okay, seeing none, let's go to a vote. Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Schwant,
Aye.
trustee Moreno,
Aye.
trustee Dorado,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. Motion passes. 96, approved salary schedule increase for managerial personnel. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So move trustee Wilson, second trustee Moreno. Any discussion? No discussion. All right. Move on to a vote. Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Schwant,
Aye.
trustee Moreno,
Aye.
trustee Dorado,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. Motion passes. On to discussion information items. 10A business services. 10A1, 2020-21 and 2021-22 state and district budget update. I'll hand it over to Dusty.
Right. Thank you so much. I would like to share my screen. Oh, it's already there. Great. Get this here. All right. Can you guys all see that and hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, good evening, President Vega, Superintendent Musarino, fellow board members, and fellow cabinet members. I'm really excited just to bring you a little bit more information as a follow-up to the January presentation on the impact of some of the budget impact that we've been hearing, but how it really applies to Alvord as we move forward. So what I'd like to do this evening is just look forward just a little bit. We'll talk about revenue and some of the changes for the proposed revenues that are coming up. Some of the influencing factors on our spending allocations, how they impact the district financial health of the district. I've got one slide real quick for budget next steps. And then just as a reminder, I will be bringing the second interim report to the board in March for approval. So let's talk about revenues first. So I start with our local control funding formula, or LCFF, and I do that intentionally because it's 75% of our total general fund revenues. So there's a very large impact when changes happen to our local control funding formula. It is based on student attendance. And so when kids come to school, we get more money, and when they don't and are absent, they lose out on the educational process, and our funding levels do lower at that point in time. So our 2020-21, we are funded at our student attendance levels of 17,355 ADA from 1920 to our 2021. In 2020-21, at this particular point between the lower enrollment this year and what we typically recognize on a year-to-year basis, we'll end up having about 840 lower next year. But we are still being funded at our 17,000 ADA level. So our revenue numbers for LCFF are for 2 years are based on this 17,000 number. This year we have a zero COLA. Our LCFF dollars are right around 195 million. That includes our 17,000 ADA as well as 156 county program ADA are all combined into that number. The projection for next year that Governor Newsom has proposed for 21-22 is a 3.84% COLA. That is about $201 million to us. So an increase of about $6 million would be a result of this particular COLA if it stays at this level. Again, same funding, our 17,000 ADA plus our county ADA. In 2021, the COLA is very unsure and very unstable. So moving forward, based on county recommendations, I will be using a 0 COLA until we have more information, which drops our LCFF revenue down to 191 million. So the combination of an 800 drop in ADA, no more prior year guarantee, we lose about $10 million based on our current factors for those projections and enrollment reductions. We still are enduring cash deferrals. So I brought at first interim the fact that we're going to need to borrow a significant amount of cash. Even though the state is projecting larger dollars, they don't apply to 2021. They will impact us in 21-22. So we had brought to the board 36.5 million. We will be moving forward with that. Our funding is being reduced from a cash basis, not from a budget, but from a cash basis. $7 million in February we will not receive in cash. That will be deferred until November of 2021. Then in March, April, and May, we have about $11 million that we will not be receiving in cash. Those will come to us in August, September, and October. And then our full LCFF apportionment, or that local control funding formula of 14 million in June of 21, we will not receive until July. So the TRAN, or that cash borrowing that the board approved in October, will be needed in this particular year. The good news with the state budget is that because revenue projections are better, Governor Newsom is applying those in 2021-22. And so instead of having February, March, April, May, and June deferrals next fiscal year or next school year, we'll only have a single June month, which will be about $15 million. So we'll be looking at probably a cash borrowing of between 15 and 20, depending upon how the state progresses with the budget proposals moving forward. I wanted to present an update on our CARES Act, or our coronavirus grants that we have out there at this particular point in time. As we've heard, there are many different grants that have been proposed. These are the ones that I actually can go out and get us our numbers as what we're going to do. So several of them are federal, a couple of them are state. There is ESSER and CARES and GEARS, and we got all those acronyms, so I put those at the bottom of the screen so everybody knew what I was talking about. But basically we're at about 25 million. The major change on this slide as to what we have been seeing up until this point is, you'll notice the 17 million Federal CARES Act. We have as a district to spend it until May of 2021. Between May and December of 2021, the state then will recapture anything that hasn't been spent and then reallocate it out to any districts that still have those needs. So we've heard about December of 2021, but actually we have a May deadline, which we will have no trouble spending those dollars. So learning loss mitigation is such a broad topic, it can be used in anything that we can determine will help bridge that gap that we're recognizing that and the struggles that our students are having. And so this is just a little update on our coronavirus grants that we have. There are some new dollars proposed both in the state budget and also being out in the public as to what may be there. So the 21-22 state budget is being called CARES 2.0. And that is our $4.5 million that we're getting this year on steroids. So it's projected we'll get probably about $18 million. We will have until September of 23 to spend those dollars. And really it's trying to focus just on supporting our students when we do return to in-person instruction. So that is the goal of those dollars. They have not been allocated. It is just information that we have at this particular point in time. We've also heard about the school reopening dollars that the governor has put together. Anticipated February 15th start, but prorated when schools and counties can start at later dates. and it focuses on safe school environments and COVID testing for students. And so depending upon how we're able to be able to bring our students back, that will be where those dollars will be focused on. That is still needing to be approved by the legislature. So we have that as well. Then there is President Biden's, they're calling it the American Rescue Plan. It is in the trillions countrywide, but 130 billion, so that's why I put the B there, billion, for our schools. And it's looking at class sizes in summer schools and safe school environments and all of those. Again, being proposed, no specific dollars or criteria have been advanced to us at this particular point in time, but it is something that is being talked about and also being advertised along the country. So I wanted to just put that down here as well.
Dusty,
Absolutely, yes.
on the previous slide,
yes,
where it talks about the state budget, the 18 million proposed for CARES Act, is that in addition to the 17 million from the federal?
Yes.
Or do you think once one says they're going to do it or gets approval, we might not get the other one, or we're going to get both of them?
We should, the 17 million we already have on the slide before. So these dollars have already been allocated in the 1920 and 2021 budgets.
Okay.
These dollars we have. We haven't received them all, but we have the allocations.
And then on the next slide.
These are all proposals.
Proposed.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So Dusty, the previous slide, that will be included in our budget already, or for second interim?
I'm sorry, say that question again.
The slide before 6, that money that will be included in our second interim report, or for our budget for next year. Sorry, for the.
So all of these dollars are in our current budget, with the exception of the second line, the federal gear dollars, that $1 million. I have not brought into the budget because we haven't needed to spend it yet.
Okay, and then the next slide, the proposal that hasn't been included.
No. And until it's been voted on and is in any of the proposals, the school reopening, the state budget, President Biden's, none of this will come into the budget until we actually have dollars.
Okay.
And we have a plan on how we'll spend those. But we hear about them, and so I wanted to just bring it to the board's attention. Then in the state budget, there's proposals for both ongoing and one-time dollars. I mentioned these in January when I brought the state proposal budget update. The preschool dollars that we talked about is about 300 million. That is $5,900 for our preschoolers. So for us, that's probably going to be about $300,000. That if the state budget is approved and this stays in it, we will get a little bit more dollars for our special education preschool. The rest of these at this particular point in time, some are ongoing, most are one time, and again, just proposals in the budget. There are also many factors that influence how we allocate our educational dollars. And so just as a reminder, this is a slide that I showed at first interim. I will update it in March. But just how at this particular point in time at first interim, how we were allocating those general fund dollars that we are receiving in, obviously.
Oh, is she frozen to anyone else?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is frozen.
I don't have, okay.
Suspended in time.
There we go. Oh my God, I always do the same thing.
So let's give her a second here. So she may not know. I'll text her.
Yeah, she's talking away. Kind of like what I would be doing. Blah, 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 blah.
So while she is rebooting, let me emphasize the proposal that the governor has forwarded. Dusty presented that information. It simply is a proposal. I'm going to talk a little bit about it when I give an update on where we are in that process, but it's sending a lot of mixed messages to a lot of our community members and others around the state and country, because it seems as though it is in place, but it's simply a proposal that the legislature has not acted on. In fact, as I reported in our last board meeting, they had all kinds of problems with it and asked the governor to revisit the idea. So I'll update a little bit more, but that's basically what Dusty was talking about at Mr. Swan asked about. It's just simply a proposal at this point. And that's hopefully something that is going to happen. But if it does happen, it will be because the legislature actually enacts it. So Dusty just called me. Let me see if she lost her internet.
Oh no.
Okay, so we lost Dusty, Madam President. So that was her last slide, however, and I think I just kind of clarified some things. Are there any other questions that the board might have about that? Okay, then in that case, Madam President, with that.
Then we'll move on to the next item, 10B Board of Education / Superintendent. 10B1 Governor Safe Schools for All Plan and Reopening Schools Timeline Update. Dr. Musarino, you wanted to give a brief update on this?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I will be brief. In fact, it's exactly what I was just referring to. So around the end of December, early January, the governor proposed that the state approve incentivizing schools by virtue of additional dollars per student to reopen, as long as the schools were able to meet the criteria. So the California Department of Education put together a new guidance document, and this is what I discussed for the last two board meetings. And the biggest difference in this and the former documents is that all students and employees are COVID tested no less than every other week. Well, that's an expense of about $1.7 million every 2 weeks for a district our size, which is why there's been a tremendous amount of pushback on the governor, because there's literally not enough money to be able to do that. And when you hear about 18 billion here and a 1.9 trillion there and all these dollars that everybody thinks, well, they're flowing in. Well, that's not the reality, but it confuses people. It's understandable that it's a mixed message to our community. So I try to clarify that in my weekly message. I hope everyone's reading that, where I'm able to try to provide some additional details. But so at this time, this is simply in the legislature's hands. It's been close to a month now rather, and there's been no further action on it. Which means that the reopening system defaults to the original tiered system. So with the governor's proposal, the 4-color tiered system was not in effect. Well, since the proposal is simply a proposal, it defaults back to this particular tiered color-coded systems, which means you need to meet the criteria. Here's where we are today. This is the latest statistics updated from earlier today. You could see we are still widespread, still in the purple. but there's much to be optimistic about because this number, adjusted case rate, that's half of what it was just 3 weeks ago. Positivity rate, same thing. Our ICU bed availability, unfortunately, continues to be at 0%, which is what led to the stay home order and the another set of restrictions that, of course, since has been lifted. Our health equity quartile, 18.5, is also down from about 22. That speaks to members of our community who live in a certain area that is lower socioeconomically. So the way that the process works now is you have to transition from the purple to the red tier. Well, to do that, we would have to have an adjusted case rate of less than 7%. We're at 62, but again, 3 weeks ago, we were double that. And that's trending in a very positive direction. Positivity rate, and that's 7-day average that the state calculates. That's 16.6. We need to get to 8%. That too has been trending in the right direction, going down. And the health equity quartile, as I mentioned, was 22 last week. It's down to 18, but it needs to be less than 8%. So you could see we're moving in a very positive direction. And now another look at this chart. So basically, we're still here and at the high end. But once we're in this area right here, this substantial or red tier, then the board will have to take into consideration all of the local elements and where we are in the school year and a lot of other information to be able to make an informed decision about reopen our schools at some point. As I've been doing all along, just to give people some idea and some concept so they can plan ahead. As of today, we're still up dangerously high. You could see all of these different lines. They represent projections based on whether or not everyone wears masks, if the vaccination rollout is successful, and so on and so forth. If you look right here, February 4th, today, this time period back in October when we originally had prepared to open the second week in November, but it never happened because we shot up at that point, and that's really when the surge actually started to take off. When we're back to that area again, that's the red tier. You could see even to this, that's when we might have the opportunity to consider reopening. That's somewhere around April 12th, around our spring break. And those again are projections. So some of the next steps for us is to bring back our approved small cohorts, which we brought back earlier in the year. Some of our children with disabilities. But we had to close that down in December because of the surge. We had quite a number of our employees, none of our children, but our employees who actually got COVID. Thank God that they're all okay. We do plan to bring that program back on the 22nd of February, and that'll be the small cohorts of students, as well as our preschool children in our programs, in our 5 programs around the district. We also now are able to allow sports competitions as permitted. Those are just individual sports, swimming, cross country, tennis, golf, those that don't have contact, and that has to be with approval of the county health officer. And we did get approval for dual track meet this coming Saturday. And then we will continue to plan for hybrid students once we are in the red tier. As I've noted in my weekly messages to our communities, we are ready. We're locked and loaded and ready to go. We're just waiting for the conditions to improve so we could safely bring everyone back to our schools. We're also in the process of planning our summer school program. We do intend to have a comprehensive summer school program so that we're able to begin this process of getting kids caught up. And then, of course, planning for next year. Much of those dollars that Dusty referred to for CARES Act funding for loss mitigation will be dedicated to prepare for next year. We're in the process right now of developing that program so we can determine how best to maximize those dollars in the interest of providing additional supports for our children. With that, Board of Education, that concludes my report, but I'm happy, of course, to answer any questions you may have.
Board, does anyone have any questions for Dr. Masrino?
Not a question, but a comment. Alan, thank you for keeping the focus on getting our schools open safely. I think that's the best way we've heard to avoid any more loss and to help start the mitigation process is to get the schools open. So thank you for that and pushing for it.
No, I appreciate that. And I think it's critical that everyone recognizes in our community, we want nothing more to bring our kids and our staff back to school. It's a very, very frustrating place that we are in with so many mixed messages and different guidance coming and going. There's no school in Riverside open. The whole county continues to work remotely. Same with San Diego, same with San Bernardino. So we're all in the same place, just doing our best to get ready when that time comes again to bring our children back. But I know, Board, that you have many of your constituents who would love to see those schools open, and I talk to quite a few families, and I tell them the same thing. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. We want to do it as well. We're waiting and we're prepared. And that time will come soon. So if the projections continue and we continue to trend in the right direction, boy, it might be possible that we would be able to open at some point after spring break. So we're gonna keep those fingers crossed and hope that everyone continues to mask up and follow all of the best practices to avoid further transmission in our community. We've seen enough death, enough hardship. We honored counselors tonight, and we know how many visits they've made to homes and how many adverse conditions they have found that many of our children are struggling through. We know, and it's killing us. And I could speak on behalf of the board because that's what we talk about every week. So hang in there, everyone. We are poised and ready, and this will all be behind us soon enough. But it can't happen soon enough.
Thank you, Dr. Masrino. If that's it, then I will move on to item 11, agenda items for future board meetings. Does anybody have any items?
No, thank you.
No?
Not at this
Okay.
time.
In that case, we are done for tonight. Thank you everyone for joining us. I think we had a great meeting. That adjourns this meeting at 8:02 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe. Be healthy.
Be well.